Good day. Hello, CJ. How are you? Straighten that camera out a little bit. And that didn't seem to help. Okay, that's a little better. Give me 1 minute. I need to wash my hands before Mass while others are getting on board here. We're expecting snow today, and we were spared the below zero. Only got down to 1 degree last night. All right. Let's put that in the... So, anybody else joining in? No, must be a rough morning for everyone. We're a little bit past the half moon, if that means anything to anyone. See, parasites, they'll change their cycle from one to another, from a full to a half to a new to another half, depending on how they feel you're attacking them. So if you think you've got them figured out, they'll switch moon cycles so that you have to keep right on top of things. All right, so let's begin with the Good Day Rising prayers, and we'll continue. We're very soon going to get into the meat that I've been looking to get into here with Give Yourself Credit. So let's get started. In nomine Dei, Matronam Nostrae, Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Patrum, Spiritum Sanctum. Let us place ourselves in the presence of the Most Holy Trinity, and in Catholic contemplation, humbly venerate the Divine Family. Most Holy and Venerable Holy Trinity, one Divine Family, I believe that Thou art here present. I venerate Thee with the deepest humility. I render to Thee with my whole heart the homage which is due to Thee. O Most Holy Trinity, I firmly believe Thou art one Divine Family, and three divine beings, Dea Matronam Nostrae, Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Patrum, Spiritum Sanctum. And relying on Thine infinite goodness and promises, I hope to obtain the pardon of my sins, the help of Thy grace and life everlasting, through the merits of Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Matronam Nostrae. O Most Holy Trinity, I love Thee above all things with my whole heart and soul, because Thou art all good and worthy of all love. I love my neighbor as myself for love of Thee, and I forgive all who have injured me and ask pardon of all whom I have injured. Let us thank the Most Holy Trinity for the many graces that we receive, and offer ourselves and our sufferings up to heaven, and for the souls in purgatory. O Most Holy Trinity, I most humbly thank Thee for all the favors Thou hast bestowed upon me to the present moment. It is again thanks to Thy bounty that I should live to see this day, and I desire to employ it solely in Thy service. I consecrate to Thee all my thoughts, words, actions, and sufferings of this day. Sanctify them, that there may be none that is not animated by Thy love, or that would not tend to Thy greater glory. Let us make a firm resolution to avoid evil and to do good, and let us beg of the Most Holy Trinity the graces which are necessary to us. O Most Holy Trinity, Thou knowest my weakness, and that I am unable to do anything good without the help of Thy grace. Deny me not Thy grace proportionate to my necessities. Give me strength to avoid everything which Thou forbiddest, to practice the good which Thou hast commanded, and enable me patiently to bear all the trials which it may please Thee to send me. O Dea Matronam Nostrae, I place myself under Thy protection. O Mother of God, I throw myself with confidence into the arms of Thy compassion. Be to me, O Mother of mercy, my refuge in distress, my consolation in suffering, now and at the hour of my death. Almost Holy Trinity as envisioned by St. Lucia as the most holy Trinitarian Theophany. Deum matronam nostrae, Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. I am heartily sorry for having offended thee, and I detest all my sins, because I dread the loss of heaven and the pains of hell, but most of all, because they offend thee, O most Holy Trinity, who are all good and deserving of all my love. I firmly resolve, with the help of thy grace, to confess my sins, to do penance, and to amend my life. Couple quick notes. If you receive an email from somebody that you've never emailed with before, telling you, or making negative comments about OurLadyIsGod.com, just delete it immediately and block them. My email may have been hacked or infiltrated or whatever. We have that quite often. Another item that I wanted to mention was there was this comment on, I forget, it was on a video about China and how wonderful their government is and how they take care of billions of people, and they provide food for them, and they do all these things, and blah blah blah. And I commented on there, and I said, wait a minute, that's not the role of government. The role of government is not to provide food and sustenance and health care and all those things. That's not the role of government to do that. Ultimately, that ends in communism, which is not a acceptable form of government for Catholicism. And I was just really, really shocked and amazed at how many people have fallen into the communist ideology, and how rampant it was. I mean, they came at me like, because I said you just need to take care of yourselves and your neighbors as they need them in a local fashion. And as long as you do it with morality, society will flourish and do well. And what appeared to be a Chinese who started the comments that they were doing so wonderful, said, we don't need any of your God-loving comments or whatever. And again, it's just, I'm amazed at how demonic the world has become. It's very sad. There's hope, though. There's hope, but it's tiny, but it is coming through the Most Holy Trinity and what we're doing. So let's keep at it. All right, the conditions now is the name of chapter 11 here in the book Give Yourself Credit, Money Doesn't Grow on Trees by David E. Robinson. If any crime against the law and mankind has ever occurred, it was surely the crime that Congress committed when it established the Federal Reserve System in 1913. This act created 12 privately owned banks of issue, which were unified into one private system and given a public facade for appearance sake. It's almost like it formed its own government within a government. And to be honest with you, that's what the Jewish system does, of religion and nationality. They go into countries and they form their own little systems in order to take them over from within. And that's what they run this Federal Reserve System as well. This act created 12 privately owned banks of issue, I already read that, for no consideration and without any restraints being placed upon the grant. Congress empowered these banks to issue notes which were deemed to be obligations of the federal United States government on behalf of the people. Okay, so they go in, they take over, and they claim they're going to help the people. One thing I did want to mention, I asked a question of what the name of the movie was that where the gold was moved, and Mr. Notebuddy came through for me, of course. So if you go back to yesterday's video, you'll find out the name of the movie. It was, and I mentioned it was Bruce Willis, and I was correct there, and it was Die Hard, and I forget which one. The automobile, the Cord, he also known, was the first front-wheel drive vehicle that was made in the 30s, and it wasn't first developed in the 60s like we thought. There's so much deception out there and hidden history. After creation, these banks quickly assumed a prominent position in the financial affairs of this nation, which they have held ever since. Their power was exercised adversely in 1920 and 1921, and the result was a depression in agriculture. Thereafter, these banks created a boom, which, when the bubble burst, ended in the worst economic calamity known to modern man to date, the Great Depression. And again, their goal with this system is all about death and destruction. It's about good and evil, Satan versus the Most Holy Trinity. How many souls can they get? And the thing is to be aware of that and to resist it where you can and speak the truth and have courage. During the Depression, these banks made war against the United States and the entire world. They went into, later on, in later years, they went into other countries and did financially ruin these other countries the same way they did the U.S. Gold and silver coins have always been and always will be the enemy of the paper money. The friends of paper money during this dark era in our history made certain that gold would never again offend them. The embarrassing predicament in which they placed the federal government was sufficient to cause the federal government to take an action unprecedented in the annals of the history of money. This action was the bold move to confiscate all gold in the possession of private American citizens and allegedly to forever lock it up in the vaults of Fort Knox. All this occurred during a quote-unquote national emergency that was the predicate for the actions taken. The only national emergency was their own, because they were losing control. Okay, but we weren't a Catholic country, and so we naturally succumbed to their influences because we didn't have the grace given by the sacraments because we were a Protestant nation, predominantly. The knowledge and experience gained by the central bankers in the 1930s was put to use in the 60s when a very silent war against silver was conducted. Okay, they went after gold first, then they went after silver, which resulted in the obliteration of all connections between this precious metal and our currency. Again, the author tends to, appears anyway, to want to have this gold-backed, silver-backed currency. Again, it's who controls those then still controls the monetary supply. And if they are not of Catholic mindset, if you will, then you're going to end up in the same position again years later. While the attention of the American public was focused upon the preparations for sending men to the moon, again, more deception. One of the deadliest social diseases ever known to man, fiat money, was introduced to our nation. Today, the currency system in our country, and mostly around the world, is totally privately owned and controlled. It is manipulated at will and is specifically designed to financially conquer the people of America and the world. I'm adding "and the world." The chief bank note, which this system issues, the FRN, or Federal Reserve Note, is totally irredeemable. You cannot take it in to exchange it for something of substance. These notes, in addition to credit claims against the Federal Reserve Bank, constitute the reserves upon which the nation's private banks issue a multiple of demand deposits out of thin air, which are likewise irredeemable. Good day, Greg. The issue of the FRNs of all these private banks is plainly unconstitutional and immoral. I added and immoral. And this entire system has been imposed upon the American people and the world with irresistible force and the power of the gun. Our entire currency system is as unconstitutional and un-Catholic, I added that, as the Confederate currency system was of Civil War times. The same thing, they were trying it different. They might have had more success if they'd used a Catholic system, but we won't get into the Confederates at this point. We'll have Greg talk about the South on one of his homilies once he gets underway. Sermons, sorry, not homilies. Since the advent of fiat paper money, our nation has suffered from the identical ills which the framers of the Constitution endured and sought to prevent. Again, their foundation, the framers' foundation, was one not of Catholicism. Inflation is endemic, taxes are constantly rising, crime is rampant, Americans are unemployed, losing their homes at a deplorable rate, and that great institution, the American family, is falling apart. These are always the direct social consequences whenever any nation has permitted its currency to be debauched, as history has clearly shown. Well, I'm going to have to disagree with him on that one. The destruction of the American family has to do with the removal of Catholic principles in society, the attack of the Catholic Church. Okay, currency is a result of that. It's like you have to get to the root cause of disease, dis-ease. Don't treat the symptom. Neither the national executive or legislative branches display any inclination. You know, this is a good point here when I'm talking about getting to the root cause. I may be talking about remedy here and how we can help ourselves get what I'm going to get to in a second. But again, I'm just treating the symptom at this point, and I want everybody to understand that. The most important thing is to get the country and the world Catholic. Then it would just naturally, it would be just common sense that you have a system, a currency system, a monetary system, a trading system that works fairly, smoothly, and godly. Neither the national executive or legislative branches display any inclination nor their lawful authority to remedy this severe social problem. No, and on the contrary, they're now trying to implement central bank digital currencies for more control over you. Okay? There really are psychopaths running this thing. One hope that we can have is that usually psychopathy doesn't last long, okay, because it ends in death. Unfortunately, usually that's what happens. Again, unfortunately, fortunately, if we can continue the rosary prayers, and it's hard to convince people. I think the only way is through prayer at this point. Further, state governors and legislators are afflicted with a supposed lack of knowledge of the true nature of coin, credit, and monetary circulation, and are therefore unable or unwilling to offer redress. However, the judiciary of our nation does offer a little bit of hope and has given the people a ready remedy that they can implement to revitalize America. And again, this is a transitional remedy. The perfect solution, the current solution lawfully established in HJR 192 of 1933, which in many cases, most cases, people are totally unaware of, including banks, at least banking staff. Okay, the higher ups, the ones at the top, they know about HJR 192 of 1933. Maybe not specifically, but they do know about it in principle, because they utilize it themselves through this discharge. Okay, they understand promissory notes, discharge. So we're going to get into a little bit of how banks operate so that we can understand how to use our remedy, and we'll get into that tomorrow. Didn't want to go too long today. All right, and let me just see what Greg put there. I can't see from that far back. Gladly, awesome. Okay, that's good. All right, let's get started. Deum vobiscum et quoque apotei, oremus. O most holy Trinity, the Creator and Redeemer of all the faithful, grant to the souls of thy servants and handmaids the remission of all their sins, that they may obtain by loving prayers the forgiveness which they have always desired, who livest and reignest with thee, one divine family, forever and ever. Suscipe Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum hoc immaculatum hostiam, quam ego indinius famalos tuus offerit tibi Deum meum vivum et verum, pro enumerabidibus peccatis et offensionibus et negligencies meis, et pro omnibus circumstantibus, sed et pro omnibus fidelibus catholicorum vivis atque defunctis ut mihi et idis proficetat salutem. Deum qui humanae substantia dignitatem mirabilitu condidissit mirabilis reformastio da nobis spiritus atque divinum mysterium eis divinitatis esse consortes qui humanitatis nostrae fieri dignatis is pateceps Deum Iesum Christum Filium, qui tecum vivit et reinat in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Offerimus tibi Deum calicem salutaris tuum de peccantis clementium, ut conspectu divinae majestatis tuae pro nostra et totius mundus salute, cum adoris suavitatis ascendat. In spiritu humilitatis et in animo contrito, suscipiam te Deum Iesum Christum et sec fiat sacrificium nostrum in conspectu tuo hodie, ut placiat tibi Deum Matronam nostra et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Veni Sanctificator, Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, et sanctificite plata prosequendo, et accepere hoc sacrificium tuo sanctum nomini, praeparatum. Suscipe Sancta Trinitas Oblationum, quam tibi efferimus amorem passionis, resurrectionis et descensionis Deum Iesum Christum, et in honoram Deum Matronam nostra et Papa Peter Sanctorum et Istorum et omnium Sanctorum, ut idis proficiat ad honorem nobis autem ad salutem, et idi pro nobis intercede de line et recaedis, quorum amorem agimus in telis periendum Christum Deum nostrum. Orate ut meam equestrum sacrificium acceptabile fiat per Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Suscipia Deum Iesum Christum sacrificium de manibus tuis et laudam et gloriam nominis sui ad utitatem quoque nostram totiusque ecclesiae suae sanctae. Deum ubiscum, et quoque pote, solum corva, habanos a Deum. Gratias hagamos Deum nostrum, dignum et justum est. Te igito clementissime mater pater, Deum maturam nostrae, Deum patrum spiritum sanctum, per Deum Iesum Christum, filium tuum Deum nostrae, supplices rogamus ac petimus. Ut ecepta habeas et sanctificas, haec sanctam sacrificium irribata, in primis quae tibi afferimus pro ecclesiam tuam sanctum catholicam, quam pacificare custodire ad honore et regere dineris tot orbite darum atque catholicae. Memento Deum famorum catuorum. We pray for the sick and the suffering. We especially pray for Miguel Pasamano, Luis Cantu, Robert Dusko Sr. and Jr., Katie Gage, Neil and Earl Lively, R.M., Maria Josephina Mose, Letitia, Clarette, Mindy, Mark Jr., Henry, Barbara, and Benedict Santa Croce, Mr. Nobody, Ann Tink, the Cantu and Duarte families, Michaela McLarnon and family, Sarah and Becky, Jenna and Lena, Lori, Aaron and family, Maria and the Lineweber family, the Dosco, Nye, Tafor, Began Wolf, and Kane families, and Alessio Tafor. We pray for Mr. Nobody to receive the funding and strength needed to complete the first Sede Vacantes Catholic Council office in Monastery of Illinois. We pray for an end to all governmental allowance or sanctioning of abortion, transgenderism, transhumanism, child trafficking, child abuse of any kind, anywhere, place, or time. We pray for the establishment of a Catholic monarchy with a sound Catholic system of labor, human value, medium of exchange with no usury. We pray for courageous Catholic men to step forward with virtue as leaders of this Catholic society. We ask for a reversal of the feminist ideology and a return to godly femininity. We ask that all pornography, the OnlyFans platform, and gay quote-unquote marriage all be stopped. And we ask for the conversion of all sinners trapped in a state of mortal sin, especially the ignorant. We pray for the elimination of anything that might be harmfully intended at any event where the public or the people gather. And especially we pray that all satanic activity is exposed, especially at the Super Bowl, and prevented somehow. We ask that you destroy the satanic document of Vatican law, that is the Jewish Talmud, that you destroy Rome and the Vatican and recognize the transfer of the authority of the Catholic Church to Fatima, Portugal. And you block any passages of fake monetary systems that are used to control the people, as well as fake pandemic processes and lies and deceptions. All this we ask in accordance with the most holy and divine Trinity. Et omnium circumstantium quorum tibi fides cognitas, et nota devotio pro quibus tibi afferimus, vel qui tibi front hoc sacrificium laudis, prosis visque omnibus pro redemptione animarum suarum prospe salutis et calamitatis suae. Tibi quid reddunt volta sua, aeterno Deum vivo et vero. Communicantes et memoriam venerantes in primis gloriosae, semper Deum maturam nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et beatorum materium tuorum, Papa Sancti Petri, et Sancti Lucia, et Sancti Jacinta, et Sancti Francisco, et Sancti Juan Diego, et omnium sanctorum tuorum quorum meritis praecibusque, concedas ut in omnibus protectionis tuae muniamur exilio, per eundum Christum Deum nostrum, quam oblationem tu Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum in omnibus, consecratum ac aptabulumque feceri digniris ut nobis corpum, et sanguine fiat dedictissimi filium tuum Deum Iesum Christum, qui pridie quam patoretur cepit panem in sancta sac honorabilis manus suas, et derivatis oculis in calamate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum sum omnipotentem tibi gratias agens, consecravit. Frege didique lumis sui dicens accipite et mondo cate ex hoc omnis. Hoc est enim corpus meum. Simini modo postquam ceremoniae est accipiens hunc preclarum calicem in sancta sac honorabilis manus suas idem tibi gratias agens, Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, consecrave dedique lumis sui dicens accipite et bibite exo omnes. Hic est enim calix sanguinis mei mysterium fidei, quae pro nobis et pro multis effundetur in remissione peccatorum, aequat est cum preficeritis in memor facitis. Unde et memoris Deum nostro virtuis et plebs tua sancta justum Christum filium tuum Deum nostrae, tam beate passionis nec non et ben fedis resurrectionis, sed et in caelos glorioso ascensionis, offerimus praeclare majestati tuae de tuis donis actatis, supra quae propitio ac sereno vultur respicieri dineris. Supplices te regamus Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, iube hec per fede per manus tuum, ut quod ex hoc autoris participationis sacrosanctum Deum Filium tuum, corpus et sanguinem sincerimus, omni sanctificatione caelestia gratia Dei per amor per in Christum Deum nostrae. We pray for those who have died. We especially pray for Michael Robert Beadle, for whom this Mass is being offered. Ipsis Deum et omnibum in Christum quiscentibum locum refigere iducis et pacus et odor gesta proclamar per in Christum Deum nostrum. Perquam hic omnia Deum Iesum Christum semper bona creas sanctificas, vivibicas, consecratis et praestas nobis. Per ipsum et cum ipso et in ipso, est ibi Deum Patrum omnipotenti in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, omnis honor et gloria. Ave Dea, matronam nostrae, gratia plena Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum tecum, sanctam tuam in mulieribus, Dea matronam nostrae, materam Deum Iesum Christum, ora pro nobis peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostrae. Libera nos quaesimus Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum abondibus malis, praeteritis, praesentibus et futuris, et intercedente beata gloriosa semper Deum matronam nostrae. Cum Papa Petrum Sanctorum et omnibus sanctis da propitiis pacem mendibus nostris. Ut ope misericordiae tuae aduiti et peccato, simus semper liberi et ab omni perturbatione seculi. Per eundem Deum nostrum, Iesum Christum Filium tuum Deum nostrum, qui tecum vivit et reinat in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, per aeternam. Pax Deum Iesum Christum sit semper vobiscum, et quoque apud te. Haec mixtio consecratio corporis et sanguinis Deum Iesum Christum fiat excipentibus nobis in ad salutem aeternam. Pax tecum, et quoque apud te. Deum Iesum Christum, qui ex voluntate Deum matronam nostrae, quaprante Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, per mortem tuam mundum vivificasti, libera me per hoc sacro sanctum corpus et sanguinum tuum abonibus iniquitatibus meis et universis malis, et fatme tui semperin hadere mandatis et nunquam separari permittas, qui cum eodem Deum matronam nostrae et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum vivis et regnam aeternam. Per ceptio corporis tui Deum Iesum Christum, quod ego indinius sumere praesamo non mihi proveniat in idicium et condemnationem, sed pro tu pietate prosit mihi ad tutum metis corporis, et ad me delam percipiendam qui vivis et regnas, cum Deum matronam nostra in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Panem calestem accipiem et nomen Deum Iesum Christum invocabo. Deum matronam nostrum non sundinius, ut inter sotete meis in tantidi verbis nabetranum mea. Deum Iesum Christum non sundinius, ut inter sotete meis in tantidi verbis nabetranum mea. Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum non sundinius, ut inter sotete meis in tantidi verbis nabetranum mea. Corpus Deum nostrum Iesum Christum custodiet anima mea. Quid retribuum Deum Iesum Christum pro omnibus, quae retribuit mihi, calicem solitaris accipiem et nomen Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum invocabo, laudans invocabo Deum matronam nostra et ab inimicis meis salvos ero, sanguis Deum nostrum Iesum Christum custodiet anima meam. Corore sum sumus Deum Iesum Christum puramente capiam meis et timorere et parae fiet nobis remedium sempiternum. Corpus tuum Deum Iesum Christum quod sumsit sanguis quem potavi et heriat, visceribus meis apraesta ut in me non remaniat scela macula quem pura sancta refecerunt sacramenta. Deum vobiscum, quoque apote, oremus. May the prayer of thy suppliants profit the souls of thy servants and handmaids. We beseech thee, O most holy Trinity, that thou mayest free them from all sins and make them sharers in thy redemption, who livest and reignest with thee, one divine family, forever and ever. Deum vobiscum, et quoque apud te, ite mis est. Deum gratia. Placia tibi, Sancta Trinitam, obsequium servitutis meae, et praesta ut sacrificium coroculis tuae majestatis in nos autoritibus et acceptabile miqui et omnibus, pro quibus idut optolicit miserante propitiabile pecoris Deum nostrum. Sanctificat vos omnipotens Deum, Matronam, et Filium, et Spiritum Sanctum, Deum Matronam nostra, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum, Spiritum Sanctum. Gratias. Most Holy Trinity, I believe, I venerate, I hope, and I love thee. I beg of thee pardon for those who do not believe, do not venerate, do not hope, and do not love thee. Most Holy Trinity, Deum Matronam Nostra, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. I venerate thee profoundly, and I offer to thee the most precious body, blood, soul, and divinity of Deum Iesum Christum, present here in reparation for the outrages, sacrileges, and indifference by which he himself is offended. And through the infinite merits of his most sacred heart, and the immaculate heart of Dea Matronam Nostrae, I beg of thee the conversion of poor sinners. In nomine Deum Matronam Nostrae, Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Gracias. An interesting conversation with someone on the comment section, and he was saying how there's not one Catholic who believes that Our Lady is not Mary. And I beg to differ with him, but I realized something, because he said that I'm not Catholic, and I'm for freedom of religion, and the way he was communicated, it sounded like he was American. And I realized that he is ingrained with this idea of consensus, so that it's, democracy, where when the majority believes in something, then it becomes truth. That's not the Catholic way, just so people who understand that, who come to here, who are American and don't have any sense of religion, that's not how it works. Truth is absolute, and it is discernible. And it takes commitment to being free from sin and the grace of the Most Holy Trinity. Please go and sanctify all those you meet. We'll see you tomorrow, and we'll continue on. Have a great day.